All right, so keep it with TV now. Let's talk about the third season of Umbrella Academy, man. And of what assisting me here, is fellow, comic book nerd, Ashton. So I mean, this man knows the comic, he knows the source material already. You know what I mean? So I sorry, I haven't got around to reading any comics. I guess when we get to your thoughts, you'll tell me if it's worth checking out or not, right? But
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
this of course is the highly popular Netflix series that's based off of the Dark Horse comic series. You know what I mean? And I will confess, the first season, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it didn't blow me away though. Like I don't know, it just didn't rope me in as much as I wanted to. But then the second season happened by, and I was like, oh my god! But like this show like ramp up though, you know what I mean? Because I just love this idea of, well, from the end of the first season, they were trying to more or less prevent this apocalypse from taking place, and then like in between the apocalypse itself, they found themselves in the 60s now, and it's just kind of them just trying to figure themselves out. And then there's some other big apocalyptic threat, and it's just how they were able to sort that out too. You know what I mean? So I really really enjoyed that second season, man. Right? So of course, season three kind of follows up where the last season stopped, right? Where our heroes more or less find themselves what they think is the present day, right? But they pretty much find themselves in, well, the mansion, I believe that's what it's called, right? Their home, right? But it's actually run by what is called now the Sparrow Academy, right? So it's just basically themselves, but not really themselves, but just new characters, basically, right? And of course, as you expect, it's like, who the hell are you? What are you doing in our house? You're in my house, and all that kind of stuff. They have, they kind of duke it out and whatnot. And then, well, they more or less kind of realize, well, okay, well, these Sparrow people here to stay. So reluctant. So eventually, they kind of find themselves at this hotel called Hotel Obsidian, right? It's just weird, kind of swanky hotel basically, but it holds a lot of secrets, a lot of history took place there. And we learn later on it has to do with, well, Reginald Hargreaves himself, right? Played by Colm Feore, right? Of course, he is the domineering father, well, the more or less the father who adopted the members of the Umbrella Academy to begin with. But then we learn also too that he adopted the members of the Sparrow Academy as well too. Because yeah, similarly to like how the Umbrella Academy came to be, you know, but I think in this case, I think if I'm not mistaken, actually, you can tell me if I'm wrong. I believe it happened at a later date, or probably in the same day. I think it's at a later date. You know what I mean? These random women around the world gave birth, even though they were never really pregnant per se. And yeah, he just kind of came and took all these children, and all of them have powers and whatnot, right? And yeah, similar to the Umbrella Academy, he well, they pretty much went through like rigorous, almost torturous training and whatnot. So yeah, they pretty much hate their dad and whatnot, right? But he's the leader, so they kind of roll with him, right? So in a nutshell, we have another apocalyptic event taking place, right? It has to do with this sort of black hole-like sort of entity thing that they find in the bottom, in the basement of the mansion itself. It claims a few people. That's all I will say, but then it grows now to the point that it's pretty much wiping, just it just kind of gives these bursts, right? These bursts of energy, right? And like outside of the mansion and outside of the hotel itself, it kind of counts as blackouts. Like you just see like lights are just kind of shut off for a while and then come back, right? But then eventually it gets from bad to worse. Yeah, people like human beings are being vaporized now. It's just these superpowered individuals seem to just be surviving through all this, right? So as you would expect, of course, Umbrella and Sparrow have to come together. Reginald kind of brings them together and tells them, hey, there's this device thing that you have to use now to more or less prevent the end of the world here. But in between all that, of course, you have this infighting between the members of both the Umbrella and Sparrow, specifically with the character of Ben, right? If you remember, Ben, was the presumed deceased member of the Umbrella Academy. Here he shows up, but he's in the Sparrow as well too. So you have this bit, even though It's something personally I don't really like when it comes to shows like this, where you're seeing, where you know it's not the real person, but it's like, oh Ben, we haven't seen you in a long while. It's like, dude, what you talking about? I'm not Ben, or I'm not the Ben that you know, right? But they keep playing this down, you know what I mean? Especially with the character of Luther, you know, because yeah, he just buys so much into the fact that this guy is like the Ben that they know and love, right? But really, you get a lot of like infighting between the characters of Allison and Victor. Well, oops, I always kind of sell
Bro,
myself out,
oh
right?
my
Yeah,
God.
that's now. I know you have, yeah, I know you have a 2 cents you have a little 2 cents to weigh in on that, right? So basically, though, Victor, that so it's not Vanya anymore. It's Victor, right? Because remember, well now it's Elliot Page now. So it's they had to kind of justify, and I'll talk about this in my thoughts on the show, right? So you have to kind of justify the whole transgender change, right? So they did that. They did that, right? So yeah, now the character is going by Victor now, right? And at first, Allison's like, yeah, she's cool about it, right? But it's not really so much about the change of name, but really about her skill set, right? Just these powers that she has. Then also in terms with someone else who has similar powers. That's all I was saying. I don't want to spoil anything like that, right? So yeah, it's all this infighting going on with between the academies themselves, while pretty much the world is coming to an end, and that is what this third season is about, right? So before I get to my thoughts on this season, Ashton, your thoughts on season 3 here. What do you think?
Right. So season 3 of Umbrella Academy, I blocked out everything I don't like about it, basically. And I wanted to expand on something that you said. The reason for the Sparrow Academy and Ben being in the Sparrow Academy, seeing as Ben was an original member of the Umbrella Academy, he was adopted by Hargreaves. And because he was already dead by the time the Umbrella Academy met Hargreaves in 1963, he had made a decision to specifically not adopt those kids, basically. But Ben wasn't there at that time, right? So there was no objection to adopting Ben into the Sparrow Academy. So Ben has always been, well, I would say, an original member of the team throughout. Then an original thoughtful member of the team. Just so
Okay, I see.
happens, yeah, just so happens because this version of the academy, the Sparrow Academy, they kind of took a more stern approach with Hargreaves, turning him more into a cock than anything else for the team, right?
Right.
Whereas on the Umbrella side, he was hardcore, you know, this and that, right? And boy, oh boy, I had to research to see if I was wrong about the whole Vanya thing, which I was not. There was this character of Victor Hargreaves was specifically created because um Elliot Page exists,
Mm.
right? And I totally disagree with that. That's why we have recastings, and you could have recasted the Page actor for the simple reason that I've never liked their rendition of the character from since season 1. I did not like Page. I try not to say anything that will get we cancelled now, you understand?
Right,
Because
right. Please, please,
everybody
please,
is
please do it.
sensitive.
Please do it. Yeah.
So going with last names only, right? Because I don't want to make any slip ups and offend the easily offendable. But so Paige, I didn't like Paige from season 1. It didn't change in season 2. I have this huge grievance with annoying characters, which Paige ticked all the boxes for that, right? Since the start. And now we come to season 3, and it seems like Allison wanted to take over the role of the most annoying on-screen character for Ashton to have to watch.
Oh
Um,
god.
I don't know why
I
she
I
couldn't.
I, I have my thoughts on Allison though. What I will say, just off the bad boy, she was doing a lot of mean faces this season, boy. She was
Yeah,
like real pissed off though.
like for what? Like understand that you are in a parallel universe, a parallel timeline to yours. So whatever you know to be the norm for you, it's not. That's just the way it is. Why are you acting so surprised? Hello, you went back to 1963 in season 2 and started off brand new family. You mean to tell me you couldn't understand that you've come back to present day and your current family does not exist? Yet you want to
Good
make
points.
everybody, yeah, yet you want to make the whole team, well, not the whole team, but you want to make certain individuals on the team life hell. Totally disagree with that. Totally, her character was off the rails annoying. I just couldn't handle it. I really couldn't handle it. And staying true to season 1 and season 2, my favorite character is Five. I just think Five is
Of course.
the
Yeah.
best character. I think the actor who does Five, put him in a Robin suit, put him in some kind of neck suit, because this fella needs more screen time on more shows, or maybe not even superhero, but I would love to see him act in some more stuff, because I think he's a
Yeah,
good
you're actually
actor.
onto something with that Robin thing. Huh? You're onto something with that.
Yeah, you see, and I think he's a good actor, and I really appreciate seeing him on screen, right? All in all, I would say that Umbrella Academy as a whole this season suffered from trying to appease one actor, that you kind of lost me in the essence of the show. Because to appease the one character, you had to erase one. And I know in production and in writing, they're very liberal with adaptations from books into screen, but this was a little too liberal. And I mean, I didn't need to be reminded every single other episode, or like how they have to say it in every episode, that hey, Vanya, no more Vanya. Victor, only Victor. Every single episode, you're trying to drive that in my head, continuously trying to drive it in my head. One episode of telling me that is enough for me as a viewer to understand that, okay, we respect what went on. They made a move for the show to continue while using the same actor and not replacing them. But given that, I don't need to know that every single episode you're going to explain to me that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal anymore. It's done. It doesn't need a reaction in every single episode, right? And I found that to be annoying. Um, I like, all right, if I have to rate this show, honestly, I give season 3 like the lowest rating of a 5, maybe. Of a 5 for 5. That's it. You know what I mean? 5 out of 10, I would give it, because it wasn't super impressive. It was kind of cool, but just wasn't impressive to me. You know what I mean? And I blame a little bit of that of me being a comic book reader and a nerd to a certain point, that sometimes I hold properties up to a higher standard. I mean, I already love a lot with Umbrella Academy. One of the things I love is number one. Number one's body in proportion to the everybody else. In the books, he is super huge. Like
Oh, okay.
like
That's the Luther character,
huge,
by the way.
huge. Yeah, Luther's character is huge, huge. Like oversized gorilla huge. You know what I mean? Like comedically oversized gorilla huge. That being said, Klaus, that guy, that actor, brilliant as always. I really
Yes,
enjoyed his
yes,
work.
yes.
And I believe that if Disney ever thought that they wanted to do a Captain Jack Sparrow young boy, that's the person to cast. And
You know you're onto some with that too. You're onto some with
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yo, I'm a smart guy. I mean, like if I was on if I was a somebody and not a nobody, and people used to take on what I said, yo, I'll be making money just with my little ideas. Telling you. But yeah, the show, all in all, 5 out of 10. Uh, certain characters fell off to me. Allison, Allison being one, Victor being one. Because even though Elliot Page's character was annoying from season 1 to present, it was still acceptable. You know what I mean? And you know what was really annoying? That Allison was willing to forgive her for almost killing her, but not willing to forgive her for like coming to some different timeline.
Right. Yeah.
That didn't make sense to me. And also, you can't blame Victor's character for saving somebody in 1963, and that guy getting powers, and because of his powers, something bad happens to the other guy's, parents. You just can't. Like she was so irrational. The character was
Hmm.
so irrational. I don't know what kind of agenda they push in with that kind of madness, but didn't work for me. And as you were saying, the paradox that was created was called the grandfather paradox, which when
Yes.
they explain in the show is actually pretty hilarious when you take it
It
in,
is.
you
Yes,
know.
yes.
And that's one thing I'll give the show. It didn't stray away from its like comedic, you know, undertones. They kept that very much intact. So kind of appreciate that as well. And that's my thoughts on Umbrella Academy in a nutshell.
All right, so my reasoning for not really enjoying this season as much as the other two, it just boils down to a few things, right? One is the most obvious, the pacing. I know it's Netflix. I know we're going for 10 episodes, and a majority of them kind of clocking at either 45 minutes or more. But yeah, sometimes the pacing for these episodes, boy, is woof. You know what I mean? And, like I understand, it's all about, giving characters or I should say actors room to breathe and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? We want to have these great character moments and bits and all that kind of stuff, right? But I felt like it really was to the detriment of the story, right? Speaking of which, another reason that I did not really quite like appreciate this season or as all that.
They said something there that I agree with, and you know what threw off the pacing? The acceptance of Elliot Page's character in every single episode, because they have to eat up, time for that, right? And that is what threw off the show. And
it's a lot more than that, but
if they wanted to prove a point, it should not have been to make the character male, right? It should have been to, okay, Elliot Page is a good actor, so keep acting as Vanya throughout this thing. You understand?
Right.
Because you are an actor.
Well, in terms of that, right? So, slight spoiler, right? The Vanya Victor change does not happen in the first episode, right? So you do see Vanya, right? Now, when it comes to the Victor stuff, don't worry, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on talking on Elliot, right? How they play it off, I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's it, okay. And I thought that was it too. And ever so often, a character or two will be like, oh, okay, you're going by Victor now, okay, right?
Literally but I felt like get a haircut and change your clothes. That's it. Yeah, but literally get a haircut and change your clothes.
Exactly, but I felt like when it came to I felt like it was a lot of Victor and Allison. It was just about the two of them, especially with what Victor was trying to do in terms of trying to rectify this whole paradox thing and try to prevent the end of the world. But Allison just so hung up on she emotions and this whole thing about she family and all that kind of stuff. And yes, I do agree with you, man. Like as much as I love the actress, Emmy Raver Lampman, who plays Allison though, she was doing a lot of mean mugging in this season, boy. Because she was real pissed though, you know what I mean? And just because, just of all the stuff that's going on and how she's not able to reunite with her family, even though the reason is kind of obvious. It's different timelines, it's different eras basically, right? So she come back in the normal one, she's like, they're supposed to be there, so how come they don't remember me and blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff, right? But then it goes even further now because of who Victor more or less meets up. That's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything beyond that. And that actually made for a great reveal, I should say, a great twist, right? No, actually, a great reveal.
You know what? It was Scarlet Witch psychosis to me. Like, honestly, that's the best way to describe it. Like, that's it. Scarlet Witch could have just asked America Chavez to send her to a dimension where she was already dead and the kids were orphans and just go there,
a lot of MCU fans will more or less agree with you, though, Jed,
And Allison was suffering the same exact thing. Like, you need to come to the realization. If you help the team try to complete the team's goal, you will get back to your happily ever after.
That's right. Yeah. But it was just a lot of, I don't trust you, I don't like you, that kind of thing. It just ran on for way too long, right? But honestly, the most annoying character was neither Victor nor Allison, though. So there's a subplot involving Diego, right, having a son. That kid is the most annoying character I've seen in that whole season, boy. I don't want to say how he had a son in the first place. I don't want to say anything beyond that, though. And not disrespecting the actor who played him and whatnot, though. But like what they had the kid do had me real pissed off. I was cussing underneath my breath. There's one scene involving him and Klaus. Had me real cussing, Jed. I was just like, dog, why you that stupid, Jed?
Bro.
Like, I would have punched that.
Oh my God. When that happened, I looked at my wife. I was like, yo, I hate this fucking kid.
I know, oh boy. And I feel like he was just there to be a nuisance. And they kind of justify, okay, this is why he's so antisocial because of this and how he was brought up and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, dog, like, why, Jen? Why, right? You know? But other than that, oh yes, and also speaking of that, they actually brought back Lila, right? I actually forgot her from the second season. But yeah, she's there. She shows up as the on again, off again love interest to Diego, right? But yeah, along with all that too, but really for me, the real reason why I felt kind of underwhelmed by the season is that I just felt like it just covered similar ground to what we saw before. You know what I mean? Again, it's another apocalyptic event. Yes, it's something that they think they have under control, and then you realize, oh, we don't have it under control, so we might as well just kind of sit it out and enjoy ourselves and live the rest of our lives before the world comes to an end. And then last minute, somebody say, oh no, this is what we have to do, and this is what they try to do, and then without spoiling anything, it kind of ends with them in another place, in another situation, right? And that will lead into the next season here, right? So yeah, I just felt like it just covered way too familiar ground right now. Like, it's the third season. So, you're thinking, okay, the show is going to go in a different direction. But no, it's another apocalyptic event, right? And then seeing that, Victor's involved in it too, you can kind of guess where the show is going from that point on, right? And I actually expected to see more of the Sparrow Academy. Like, I want to see more of their rivalry, if you will, between them and the Umbrella. But we don't really get that much of it, though, which was kind of a letdown, right? But there is good in this show, right? I mean, again, this is just so well shot by the cinematography, direction, strong, like just some gorgeous visuals and all that too. You could tell that, like the people behind the scene probably were inspired by a lot of like Wes Anderson. You could tell like for me, the show kind of feels like the superhero, apocalyptic version of, say, like the Royal Tenenbaums. You know what I mean? Or in this case, though, you have a bit of, Grand Budapest Hotel in this as well.
I like that. I like those parallels.
Yeah, there's a lot of great interior shots and all that kind of stuff. Music choices, great as well too. By the way, I'm not even going to tell you which episode.
Love the opening scene.
Yes. The opening sequence, guys. The opening sequence. You all need to watch that. If you're a fan of the 80s, that's all I'll say. You will love that opening 10 minutes, right? Also, there's actually a cover of a classic song that was sung by Jeremy Renner of all people. I was shocked when I see that name. Like, what? Like the Hawkeye.
Yeah, Jeremy has he actually has a thriving-ish music career, and he does stuff and all that kind of stuff. He always promotes it on Instagram, and I kind of like.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I like, what, this man could. Like, I'm not saying he's the best singer out there, but I was like, what?
But he
like,
can sing.
Pipes, bro. Okay. But where they included in the film, in the series, in the season, sorry, though, was flawless in my opinion, right? The visuals work, right? Even though at times you can kind of tell, like, they just kind of cutting around certain things, you know what I mean? So it's not like you see like a CW superhero show, for example. No offense, Tracy, where it's like, all right, we don't have that much budget, so we had to show you the visuals, but they look like trash, but we kind of had to show it. Here's like, all right, the visuals look good, but we can't do too much of this one thing, so you had to kind of hide it or cut around it, basically with editing or having characters move from one spot to the other. You could see that, especially in the fight scenes, in the more like integral action scenes. You could see where they kind of cut around certain things. You know what I mean? And of course, last but not least, I mean, the acting still is great from top to bottom. You still love these characters. You know what I mean? Whether it's Klaus, whether it's Five, whether it's Diego. For better or for worse, Allison and Victor. Yeah, there was the two letdowns for me. And
I hope you realize that's all the female characters as the letdown.
I ain't gonna go too far.
I just leading into my theory on that, right? My theory is that more often than not, little kids and female characters in shows like this are normally the annoying ones.
Well, for me, just before we wrap up, for me, it's just that it just felt like, it was just these characters kind of spinning the wheels. It's like, all right, I'm angry about this, I'm concerned about this, I'm sad about this. All right, rinse, repeat. I felt that was that. So there wasn't really like any significant character growth, you know what I mean, until like later on in the season, right? And lastly, where the season stops off, I'm like, all right, I'm curious to see what happens next. I'm not in a hurry to see what happens next, unfortunately, but I'm curious to see what happens next, nonetheless.
I find the way they ended it they ended it such as like this is either the last episode of Umbrella Academy we ever gonna see, or maybe we continue it. That is exactly how they
I
ended
feel
it.
so too. It
Because
could be. Yeah.
yeah, because as you know, Netflix has been slashing their departments all over the place in the recent couple of weeks, right? They've been firing people, they've been getting rid of certain departments, they got rid of their animation department. So there is no guarantee that original content is still gonna be there and present the way it was before. Also, just a small thing to point out on all these seasons of Umbrella Academy, the time frame from season 1 to season 3 is 28 days.
Yes, that is true though. Even though the show doesn't usually stop to establish that, but yeah, they've been going through all this shit in like a short space of time though, which is really crazy though. You know what I mean? Yeah, so rating wise, I was let down by this, but that's not to say that there isn't much to enjoy and appreciate with it, right? If you're a fan, you will still I would say still watch it, right? You will enjoy it for the most part, right? If you're not a fan, then yeah, this season is not gonna wow you at all, right?
Ricardo, I disagree. I think if you're not a fan of Umbrella
you
Academy,
mean Matthew,
Matthew,
you're calling
Matthew,
out.
sorry.
Right.
Sorry, wait, Matthew. Matthew, I disagree. I think if you're a fan of Umbrella Academy, you're not going to enjoy this season. But if you're not a fan, then you're going to enjoy it. When I say fan, I'm talking about books.
You're not a fan.
Right? If you're not a fan of the books, you're going to enjoy this. If you are a fan of the books, you are not going to enjoy this.
Oh, all right. I understand. Yeah. And I really do need to read up on these books like as soon as, right? So yeah, rating wise, like a decent 3 out of 5, man. It's alright. It's alright for what it is. Season 2 for me is still the best season we've gotten thus far, but 3 was alright. It was alright for what it is, man. And don't know if you're gonna get a season 4. I do hope so, because I hate when shows are just like suddenly cancelled before the story even ends. You know what I mean? But because even when this one ends, though, you could tell that there is more story to be told, man. But yeah.